Hey my dudes, how's it hanging? It's your boy ZNF1 here. So today I thought I'd put together a video for you guys on how to produce sparks from rocks slash flint and steel. Not having a flint rod on you can be pretty frustrating, and it's important to know what kind of rocks you can use to make sparks for fire. So before we go on and get into that, let's cue intro. Alrighty, so the kind of rocks that you're going to need really are anything that are harder than steel, kind of like what I got here in this chisel, or, like this carbon fiber knife I got. So basically anything that classifies as harder than steel or like as a flint rock would be anything that is above like the 4.5 average for ordinary steel on the hardness scale. So that can be anything from, quartz, which is like a 6 generally, 6 to like a 7 on the hardness scale, to, like sapphires, etc., etc. I mean, diamonds too. Anything really that is harder than a steel blade or just steel in general is going to be classified as a flint, so to speak. So I got a couple of different ones here. So I got this one, which, to be fair, it looks like it might be a like slightly forming core or quartz, but it just kind of looks like a generic rock, to be honest. Maybe a metamorphic rock. So I got a couple more like that too. So these ones I'm showing here are more quartz based. But it's like these three are more like quartzes. Oh, sorry, these 4 they're there. And I got these two. This one's kind of more like geode or something like that. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like pyrite, because it's kind of got like these little ore veins in them, or like these little veins in them of minerals. So, yeah. And then there's this just generic rock here. Alrighty, so with any sort of, rock, you want to go with bigger ones generally, because like the main thing here with my like quartz and my other rocks, like this one and this one, like notice the size difference between them. So like this one's really small, this one's larger, and this one's larger. Quartz is really good for starting fire because you get a decent amount of sparks going with it. And that's just because like the edges and everything, you can make sparks for fire with just about any rock really, or like quite a few different rocks, as long as they have sharp edges most of the time. That's really what it comes down to, is sharp edges. I mean, there are gonna be some rocks, yes, you cannot start a fire with, and that's just, it's only natural, but like for say if you have like smooth quartz, it's gonna be a lot harder to start a fire with that, or like a really small piece like this one, if it doesn't have any sharp edges. Whereas like this rock, it's a little bit bigger and it's got like these defined edges on it here that are nice and sharp, which help. And it's pretty hard to just find playing flint in nature, which flints are, as far as I can recall, are just supposed to be like sharp rocks too that are harder than steel, and it's pretty hard to find them. But good places to look for these would be anywhere around like a riverbed, or like bodies of water, near a shoreline, or just like base of a hill or like a mountain, etc., etc. Places where there's generally going to be a lot of like rocks that build up over time due to like sediments forming and bonding together, etc., etc. But yeah, so I mean, you know, you got to make sure that you find a rock that's good and sharp, like kind of like how this edge is on this one here. It's really good for that. And like I said, the sharper the edges on the whole thing, the better. So like this one has that one sharp edge there, and like there's a like they're not really sharp, but they're groovy or like bumpy edges. So like the ones that are kind of like this here, where they're slightly bumpy, but they have more points on them, those would be really good because you'll be a lot more likely to get sparks off of that. So, and like the goal ultimately is to get sparks from it, because you want to be able to do that. If you can't make sparks from it, you're not going to be able to, you know, make a fire. Alrighty, so the reason why I decided to do this part at night here is simply just because it's a little bit easier for you guys to see the sparks. So like this one is the rose or like the partial quartz, and it kind of gets decent sparks here. The most important thing is really the edges. So if you go on like sharper edges, it's gonna be a lot easier because it's gonna make like more friction happen. This one's a decent spark, but there's not really too many edges on it. And you got your regular like clear quartz here. So this should be a little bit easier to see. With the quartz, I have a small piece, so it's a lot harder to make more larger sparks like you normally would. And then I have another quartz. It's kind of more opaque. It's nice and big compared to the other one, so it kind of does the job pretty nicely. That one's a little bigger, so it's a little bit easier to use and to like make sparks with. And finally, right here, what we got is like traditional flint and steel. So generally, flint's a lot easier to use, and especially if you have a flint rod like I do here, you know, and a knife. See how much easier that is compared to the other stuff. And then another thing is that I found out that pyrite, so the stuff they use for fool's gold, is actually really good for starting fires. It does make it start a lot easier because of the compounds that are in it. It makes it more flammable. You'll be able to tell too when it's starting to do that because it'll start to smell like sulfur. Oh! Ew! Give you guys a couple of quick spark skin real quick, you know. Alright, so that's going to be it for today, my dudes. If you guys did enjoy, please don't forget to, you know, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And then hit that bell icon. It will notify you whenever my next video goes live. But with that being said, though, my dudes, I do hope you guys found this to be educational and you enjoyed it thoroughly. As usual, my dudes, please don't forget to, you know, live long and prosper and take care in peace. I'll see you guys later.